Getting on the launch pad is definitely a moment that you're always thinking about, right? That's one of the more critical phases of the flight, as you can imagine. You're very focused in, right? It can be a very emotional time. You're kind of pinching yourself because it's hard to believe that you're finally there.
Born in Lebanon, Missouri, he is an Air Force colonel and a flight test engineer. He was selected as an astronaut in 2009. He spent 166 days on the International Space Station, introducing NASA astronaut Mike Hopkins.
You know, it's funny, I mean, a lot of times people think of the dream of being an astronaut as something that a kid would have. And I remember when my wife and I first started dating at the University of Illinois, and I told her that I wanted to be an astronaut. She laughed at me and kind of said, "Are you serious?" But at the same time, she stuck with me throughout the years, and to have that dream come true is pretty amazing. My role on the Crew Dragon itself, as part of Crew 1, is the commander of the vehicle. We'll be launching to the International Space Station, and we're going to be doing a long-duration mission, a standard long-duration mission. One of the nice things about being on board the International Space Station is you have a lot of connectivity, believe it or not, with your family. And so I was able to call just about every day. My family means everything to me. It is the most important part of my life. My wife Julie, my son Ryan, my son Lucas, they are just such a huge part of this whole endeavor. You know, without family, it just wouldn't be as meaningful. The partnership that we have right now with SpaceX, it's pretty powerful. They bring a lot to the table. NASA brings a lot to the table. We've got a ton of experience in human spaceflight. When you're out there on a day-to-day basis and you're interacting with their engineers, and you're interacting with their trainers, and you're interacting with the people that are actually building the rockets and building the capsule itself, you really get to establish the relationships, the personal relationships. It's not just about the astronauts that are on board, but it's about the entire team at NASA and SpaceX that it's taken to launch this Crew 1 vehicle, and we couldn't do our job without them.
Now to turn to two children born and brought up in the Twin City of Urbana-Champaign, the place of astronaut Michael Hopkins' alma mater. Stella, reflecting starlight, and Soma, named after the moon, are childhood friends. Together they would wander the prairie, sing, collect pine cones and earthworms, and explore many fantastical lands in the games, stories, and plays they created. As Stella's mother and Soma's nanny, I would accompany the kiddos around town, to the library to read for hours, to restaurants and parks and the pool in the summer, at home in the deep space of their imaginations, staying mostly out of their way except when they needed supplies, snacks, and a home base to touch back with. They even became classmates at the university primary school. In the summer of 2019, Soma moved to sunny California with his parents on sabbatical, and has remained there through the pandemic. Across the continent, he and Stella have beheld the same planets, constellations, and galaxies in the night sky. Last week, through an event hosted by the Aerospace Department, they were steeped in more magic together. A celestial conversation with Michael Hopkins, who spoke from the International Space Station. Enjoy witnessing it here.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Friend, head of the Department of Aerospace Engineering here at the University of Illinois. But none of you is here to see me or watch me. We have many tremendous students here. We have many high-impact alumni, but perhaps none quite as inspirational as Mike Hopkins. We are very pleased to be talking with him today while he's in orbit. Welcome, Mike. And let's just get right on to our first question. Are you there?
I am here, and it is great to be with the University of Illinois, the Fighting Illini. Welcome aboard the International Space Station.
Hi, I'm Stella Ellenitz, a fourth grader at University Primary School in Illinois. My question is, do you miss anything from Earth? And when you're on Earth, do you miss anything from space?
I love that question, and the answer is yes. You know, I miss my family on Earth. That's one of the things. We're up here for 6 months at a time. My crewmate Kate Rubens, who's actually getting ready to go home, she came up on a Russian vehicle, and so she actually left home 9 months ago, and so she hasn't been home in quite some time. And so family is something that I think all of us miss on a daily basis while we're up here. But you know, there's some other things that I miss that you don't really think about. For example, I miss weather. And, you know, up here, it's always 70 degrees, there's no wind, there's no snow, rain, the sun's not shining on you, or there's no change to the weather. And when you're up here, or actually, I didn't realize that my first flight until I got home back on Earth, and I was standing outside, and it was raining, and I was just letting the rain fall on me, and I was realizing how much I had missed the weather. And so there are certainly a lot of things. You know, the other thing I miss about Earth is just being around people, random people that you just happen to bump into, things of that nature. You don't get that up here either. If anybody comes up here, it's for a very specific purpose. Now, am I going to miss space? You bet. One of the things I'm going to miss about space is being able to do something like this, because you certainly can't do this down on Earth. But you know, there's other things, like the views are pretty incredible. And so I'm certainly going to miss that. But one thing I would tell you is I know for a fact that I'm not going to miss space as much as I miss Earth. And so it is great to be up here, and I love every minute of it. But I really love being home with my family, and it's just I don't know, sometimes you have to leave something to realize just how important and special it is.
Hi, my name is Soma, which means the moon. My question is, how does it feel to float in space and see our beloved planet surrounded by the stars?
Hello, Soma. It's wonderful to meet you and to share some thoughts from space with everyone at the Illuminated Universe Festival. I'm wrapping up a 6-month mission on the International Space Station, which has been orbiting the Earth 250 miles up for over 20 years. I have always enjoyed reconnecting with my alma mater, where I started this amazing journey that has led me to the stars. Soma, you asked a really good question that is really hard to answer. Floating in space is so different from anything we experience on Earth that it makes finding relatable comparisons challenging. When I do this, our Earth-based minds tell us that the blood should be rushing to my head. But it's not like that. Up here, there's no up or down. Everything is relative to my orientation, not the deck or ceiling like it would be on Earth. It's not like swimming. It's not like a bird flying. It's graceful, smooth. There's a flow to moving around station. It's anticipation, figuring how much force is necessary to go from one module to another and what direction that force should be applied. There's a constant movement, even when staying in one location. You're bobbing up and down or swaying. It's freedom, liberating. It makes you a kid all over again. Seeing our planet surrounded by the stars gives you an appreciation for just how precious Earth is and the vastness of the universe. We're all connected on planet Earth, and it is extremely important that we protect and look after our home. It is said that sometimes you have to give up something before you really appreciate it. My time in space has taught me that about Earth, and as much as I've enjoyed my time up here in space, I can't wait to get back to my home. Thanks for the question, Soma, and thanks to everyone that is attending the Illuminated Universe Festival. Your interest and passion about space will contribute to getting the first humans to Mars and the continued human exploration of the solar system.